Hi ladies and gents, Pond here with another video for Rise of Empires Ice and Fire. Today it's part 4 of my guide to counters and crowd control CC in Rise of Empires, and today we are looking at confusion. So confusion is one of the rarest elements of CC in the game compared to the others that we've looked at already, and it's definitely going to be something that is harder to pick up on in your battle video. So if you're watching a battle video and you're seeing disarming, silencing, suppressing, you'll see that nice worded icon coming up above the troops whenever that's activating. Confusion, you don't get anything. The only indicator you're going to see is the actual actions that confusion causes. Now, confusion, basically what it does is you usually see those descriptions a lot of the time in hero in skills, right? That a skill will target 2 random enemy squads, etc. You know, 1 random enemy squad, etc. What confusion does is it actually randomizes it even further, so that if a squad is confused, the troops can basically attack the opponent, their fellow squads, or even themselves, and the hero skills as well can activate against the opponent, their fellow squads, or even themselves. So you can imagine this can have a really big implication on a battle if you end up with a killer hero, for instance, getting confused and activating a top level skill against themselves, whether that's like if it's Jade Eagle, letting off a Jade Eagle, that is going to do substantial damage to their own troops, and that can be, bearing in mind you're not taking the damage, it's basically double, isn't it, that you're not taking the damage, they're giving the damage to themselves. So confusion is an excellent ability, but it's going to be difficult for you to pick up, and there are only 4 heroes in the game that have this ability. You'll see that I put up a couple of images on the screen, and that shows their stills from 2 videos that I'm going to show you now of really what are the best case scenarios for confusion, and then we're going to go through the heroes that have it actually as part of their skills. So we need to go first into Heroes Duel and down to my battle with Alex. Sorry, Alex. Okay, and we're going to get straight into it now. Bleeding Steed is one of the heroes that has confusion. It's on the 5th skill, and it can affect 2 squads for 2 turns. And it's called Bleeding Harris, and he's just got it off then. I'm fast forwarding the video to the appropriate point because I just don't want to. I just want to keep it, keep it running. So we're going to see on turn 3, Bleeding Steed's skill takes one turn of prep. So we're going to see now on turn 3, right now. Watch what happens to Jade Eagle. Attacks himself and Immortal Guardian. Then he attacks Immortal Guardian, Bleeding Steed, and Jade Eagle. Then on his Jade Eagle skill, he attacks Tara and Bleeding Steed. That altogether basically did about 35,000 kills to himself, all in one go. And again, you have to be quick to notice that the skills are activating against themselves. So, and look at the difference that's done now. If you didn't have those kills, Tara's troops would probably actually be over 100,000. The troop count would be over 100,000. Now on turn 4 as well, because it's activated for 2 turns, you're going to see just one small element of confusion, I think, which will be 1 set of archers hitting themselves. There we go. So that was the back row archers, Jade Eagle's archers, hitting that front row. And that's pretty much all the confusion we're going to see in this video. So we're going to speed this up now. And like I say, that is, that literally, that's the best series of confusion I've seen ever. Jade Eagle prepped his Jade Eagle skill on turn 1. He prepped his 5th skill on turn 2. He activated his 3rd combat skill on turn 3 when he got confused. And all 3 did actually target his own troops to at some point. So to some extent, you'll see that confusion is completely random. Actually, sometimes, we could watch 10 videos with heroes that have the confusion ability, and out of probably those 10 videos, on 5 or 6 times, you might not even see any confusion, because it doesn't guarantee that the confused heroes will hit their own troops or themselves with the skills. It just includes them in that calculation, so it's not guaranteed. Let's quickly look at another example, and it's here. So another hero, one of the 4 heroes that can confuse is Son of Ragnar. And let me just check my notes. Yep, turn 4. Okay, so Son of Ragnar has a prep skill for his confusion, and what happens is that on turns 4 and 5 of the battle, basically what it will do is it will confuse 2 squads in your opponent's legion for 2 turns over turns 4 and 5. Turns 1 to 3, it weakens your opponent; they take more damage. And then on turns, and then it doesn't. And then there's the possibility to extend the confusion, which I'll talk about in more at greater length in a minute. But after that, you're later in the battle. It's unlikely that it's going to activate. Now we're up at, as you can see, it's the Army Breaker Ragnar Avalanche combo up against the Three Sisters combo Warlord Roku Living Saint. And I just slowed it down a little bit too early here. Here we go, turn 4. So on turn 4, we're going to see Living Saint. So it's Roku and Living Saint who are the confused heroes in this situation. But Roku did get his skills off as normal, his troops basic attacked as normal. Like I say, it's not guaranteed that this is going to activate. Heavens Falls. So Living Saint just targeted Heavens Falls, and it actually hit Roku on the middle row. And now we're going to go into turn 5. So that's Ragnar getting his skill off. And now we're going to see Roku with a go. And that hits the opponents. And then he's doing his Takeji Zaitan. And look what happens. He silences Avalanche on the back row. But he actually then silenced Warlord and himself as well at the same time. So that is kind of all of the variables that can happen. You can have troops basic attack themselves or a fellow squad. You can have a hero activate a silent, another counter skill against themselves, and you can have heroes just activate their normal combat skills as well. So those are basically all the scenarios of confusion just covered in these 2 videos. I really had to trawl through quite a lot of footage to get these. Like I say, the 2 elements, the 2 examples I've just shown are literally best case examples of confusion. You could watch probably 50 battles of heroes with confusion and you might not see what we've just seen. So we got really lucky, particularly with Jade Eagle activating 3 skills and 3 lots of confusion. So let's talk about who has confusion. So first up, we've got Ashen Verdict. So the brand new SX5 Archers hero. Ashen, if you've watched my other videos on CCing, he has this, let's just get down to him. He has this ape skill where it gives you a 35% chance to apply any of the following conditions once his troops have a basic attack twice. So after your troops basic attack twice, there's a 35% chance to disarm one enemy squad. There's a 35% chance to silence the enemy squad. And here we are, there's a 35% chance to confuse an enemy squad, interrupt their skills, or do a troop recovery block. So if that would be for like troop heroes like the Lawman, Bleeding Steed, Skander, anyone that's got healing skills, that would stop that. But what we're interested here in this video is the confused element. So 35% chance every 2 basic attacks. Now, the thing is with Ash, if you look at it in theory, if he only basic attacks once a turn, then this can only possibly activate 4 times in a battle on turns 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then it's an independent calculation for each of these elements, okay? But the thing with Ashen Verdict is his 5th skill actually does allow him to basic attack twice, and if you pair him with Defender also, that Defender's 8th skill allows him to basic attack twice. So this actually increases the frequency of this skill activating through the battle. It could actually potentially activate 8 times or even 10 times if they're both giving extra basic attack. So it's still a low probability, and it's only one squad for one turn. So for me, he's the weakest of the heroes that have this ability, because it's not a whole ability, it's part tacked on almost. The next hero is a hero that I do have, which is the Hunk. So the Hunk is an SX1 footman hero. Most people would probably actually put him on the middle row because of his 8th skill that tallies damage, and then it actually gives you half of that damage on the 7th skill. So it reduces damage for the skills for turns 1 to 6, and then it gives you extra damage on turn 7. But what we're interested in is his 5th skill. So it's a combat skill, so it can be silenced and suppressed still, and it gives up to a 30% chance to make 2 random enemy squads within range enter confuse and flammable status, but we'll ignore that, for 2 turns. So it's 2 squads for 2 turns is a 30% chance. So it's pretty low. Might activate twice in a battle if you're lucky. Now, one thing you're going to you might be interested in thinking about is, you may have seen the latest versions of the hero combination sheets, and on the combined legions, you'll see that Hunk is actually in the top combined legion with an SX6 Archer's hero called Tracker, which is going to be coming out in about 2.5 months' time, maybe 3 months' time. And then you've got Spectral Reaper on the back row, because Tracker's skill 2, I think it is, increases the chances of the other 2 heroes' 5th skill actioning, and that's why they're such a good combo, because potentially Tracker basically buffs the Hunk and Reaper's 5th skills, so they're doing way more damage. And if you can if you're up against an opponent and they are confusing themselves all the time and potentially damaging themselves while you've got all the damage coming from Spectral Reaper, then that is a really good combination. Of course, being a combined legion, you're only going to be able to use that if you have a full set of Dragon Master gear. So more for the super spenders out there, unfortunately, than us mere mortals. I didn't even activate his icon on the video, never mind. Next up, we have Son of Ragnar. So I've already discussed this. Son of Ragnar's 8th skill is a prep skill. So on the first 3 turns, 2 random enemy squads within range will deal minus 30% damage. Don't know why there's 2 minuses there. And then on turn 4, those 2 squads become confused, attack and cast skills on random targets for 2 turns. So on turn 4 and turn 5, which is exactly what we saw in the video. We saw on turn 4 Living Saint attacking Roku, and then on turn 5 we saw Roku getting off the Takeji Zaitan and actually silenced Warlord and himself, and then one of the opponents, I think it was Avalanche, wasn't it? Even though Avalanche won't be silenced because she has clarity. The other thing with Son of Ragnar is his 5th skill. So his 5th skill gives additional damage. All friendly squads deal 70% additional damage, which is massive, to silenced, disarmed, and suppressed and confused enemy squads. So he basically buffs any other CC that you're dealing to the opponent, and enemy squads have a 30% chance to extend 1 turn duration when silenced, disarmed, suppressed, and confused. So he will definitely confuse on turns 4 and 5, and then you've got a 30% chance each turn on the 6th turn, for the opponent's 2 squads to be confused on turn 6. If they're confused on turn 6, then you've got another 30% chance on turn 7. To be honest, I rarely see this activate though. So you're not going to see that happening regularly, which leaves us with one last hero to look at, which is Bleeding Sted. So Bleeding Sted, for me, he's just, for S3, he's absolutely awesome. Like skill 2, first 3 turns, 2 friendly squads have 60% bonus damage. So he's buffing the troops in your legion. His skill 8 is a healing skill. During battle, when all friendly squads receive damage, there's a 50% chance to recover some units, 33%. But if that's for all 3, it's potentially 99% each turn, right? And then finally, this fifth skill, Stampeding Harass. So 1 turn prep, 50% chance to confuse 2 random enemy squads within range. Skills and basic attack targets become random, lasting 2 turns. So that's 50% chance, 2 squads, 2 turns. Four lots of confusion each time this activates, right? And you've got a 50% chance. So the only downside is the 1 turn prep. As long as this activates 2 or 3 times in a battle, you can be causing between 10 and 12, potentially 10, 12 lots of confusion for your opponent. And as we saw in that battle, you literally just saw a perfect scenario. Like if you've got Bleeding Steed, well, the only downside is this is a combat skill. So, you know, Bleeding Steed can be obviously silenced and suppressed. But if you're up against an archer's combination or a cavalry combination, or even another footman combination that don't have a lot of CC, he can be confusing them and they can be doing damage to themselves, which just makes your life easier, doesn't it? And that is the beauty of confusion. If you're up against like a Jade Eagle, exactly as we saw, and or like a Living Saint or an Immortal, any of these kind of heroes that are not immune to CCing. So that's why Avalanche, you see, is such a brilliant hero. She has clarity on that 8th skill. She cannot be confused. But if you are up against like another hero, like, you know, if you're up against, imagine if a Reaper's, yeah, just imagine like you're up against an Archer's combination, right? And you're up against Defender, Jade Eagle, Reaper. And imagine if Reaper and Jade Eagle are both confused and Defender is giving them extra basic attacks. So then you could have, and they attack themselves, then you could have all those basic attacks attacking themselves. Then you could have a situation like we saw where Jade Eagle was getting off all those skills and doing damage to her, to the own Legion. And then Reaper as well activating his 2nd or 5th skill, doing even more damage to themselves. You could just have, it's literally just you're going to obliterate them before you've even started your own attacks. So that is kind of the beauty of confusion. That is everything to talk about in the video. For me, I think Bleeding Steed, like his confusion can happen at any time in the battle. It's 2, and then it's like 2 for 2. This problem with Ragnar is, even though it's guaranteed, it's only for turns 4 and 5 that it's guaranteed. So that's why I think Bleeding Steed is the top hero for confusion in the game at this point. Of course, we don't know what's coming in the future. So there we go, guys. That is everything on confusion. I hope you found the video helpful. If you have, why not click on that like? And if this is one of the first videos you're seeing on my channel and you haven't already, why not subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notifications whenever I'm dropping videos on the channel, which is daily. And if you could please share my channel in your Alliance chat, Province chat, and through Line, WhatsApp, Viber, Discord, and for those of you in Eden, through your guild chats, and also on the map Province chat. That would be absolutely brilliant, guys. And that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.